Hello, YouTubers. Just thought I'd do a little comparison video of the two Heng tanks I have. For those of you that have subscribed or watched my other videos, you recently would know that I picked up a used Heng Tiger 1. It's the older 27 megahertz FM radio model. And the M26 Pershing I have is the newer 2.4 gigahertz model. They come out with some new advances on their controllers yet again, but I can kind of give you an idea what to expect if you want to buy one of these tanks. I've never seen any of the older FM radio versions available anymore. They're probably all sold out and outdated of those. As far as difference of the radios, here's your old FM radio here. As you can see, there's three buttons on the front of this guy. One is to start your tank sound and shut the tank off. The next button there, it's not really focusing very good, is your gunfire, and the third button is your cannon. And then your other controls are the same: your turret control, your driving control. The 2.4 gigahertz version, right here, has more buttons on the front. This one here, you can also control your volume of your speaker and also your smoker. The older 27 megahertz, you have to flip the tank over, and on the bottom there's a volume knob, and also the switch to turn the smoker on and off. So it's the only disappointment with the older 27 megahertz is the range doesn't seem to be very good. It's a lot longer antenna on the tank. I don't know if you got your big telescopic antenna on the controller. It doesn't seem to have very long range. There might be something going on with the antenna, because I get about a meter away and I kind of lose signal with that guy. Just got to stay close to the tank, that's all. Whereas the newer 2.4 gigahertz, I don't have any issues there. I can drive it all the way down to the end of the hallway of the house and back, and not lose bind or control. The Pershing I have here, I got it with the upgraded metal tracks, which are very cool. Gives the tank a lot more weight. You probably see I have other videos on that. I add a little more detail to this because I've had it for a while. I can show you my helmets, for instance. I got some window screen and actually put that over the helmets to give them that mesh look that they used to have on the helmets back then. The U.S. soldiers always had mesh over their helmets, and I painted the X's on the gas cans, stuff like that, small details. I've just been adding to the tank here and there. The Tiger 1 I just got, I haven't added any extra detail to it. Also on the Pershing, the tow cables that come with the tanks that clip on, they're plastic, of course. This one, the bottom here, this one, it snapped a couple of times. I glued it. It just snapped again. If you're driving over obstacles, it'll pull on it and snap. So this is actually inside of a bicycle cable, an old bicycle cable I had. I cut the plastic ends off the plastic cable and drilled holes into them and just inserted and super glued this metal cable. So it now has an actual metal cable in the back of the tank. Just a little more detail added. I'll be adding more detail to the Tiger 1 too. As far as size goes, the Tiger 1 is a little bit bigger tank. These are both 1/16 scale, just the Tiger 1s were such large tanks. I think when the M26 was originally introduced, it was introduced as a medium tank, whereas I think they ended up upgrading it to a heavy tank in the later years, where the Tiger 1 was right from day one a heavy tank. I haven't had any issues at all with the Pershing at all. It's been a great great RC tank. If you're leery on the Heng Long tanks, I definitely recommend getting one. If you're to use them a lot outside, stuff like that, you might have some issues or some damage. I use this mainly indoor. I have had it outside here and there. The Tiger One I haven't out. The previous owner had it outside. There was some dirt in the tracks that I cleaned out of it. They're fun indoors and outdoors. The airsoft pellets shoot further indoors than they do outdoors because, you get wind and stuff like that. The Tiger One is actually, with the plastic tracks compared to the metal, it's quite a bit faster. That's just mainly because it takes a lot more power to drive these metal tracks. It's a lot more weight for the motors to move. It is plastic gears inside the Tiger One. I opened it up and took a look, whereas the Pershing actually has zinc gears in it. A little bit better in plastic, not as good as steel. But I went online and I tried to see if I could find some metal gear cases for this guy here. Didn't seem to be any available at the moment. There is the metal drive sprockets, and the rear idlers are still available for it, but I couldn't find any of the gear cases. To upgrade to the metal tracks, with the plastic gear cases, I had a funny feeling that they'll just strip. So if I can't find any, I might just keep the plastic tracks on this guy, and I just might put some metal drive gears on there. They don't recommend you use these on carpet because you're more likely to snap your drive sprockets. Now, I have metal drive sprockets, the zinc gears, and metal tracks on this guy, and I drive it on carpet all the time, and I haven't had any issues. So if you were to have everything all metal drivetrain, you're probably going to be okay on the carpet. Outside in long grass, it really, especially with the metal tracks, it really bogs the motors down. You lose a lot of speed. It takes a lot more throttle to turn and stuff like that. As far as sound goes, the sound's slightly different between the two, probably just because they might have did some updating to the sound on the newer ones. The machine gun fires a little bit slower on the Tiger One, and maybe that's per era or just that particular tank. Maybe they tried to match that. I'm not sure. The newer Heng Long remotes, the new versions they just come out with, actually have buttons mounted up in the top corner. So while you're driving your tank or using your turret, you can also toggle those for your cannon fire and your machine gun fire, which just more functions. You can use it once. Whereas with the buttons down here, it'd be really hard to hold this drive and fire those at the same time. So that's one of the improvements that they have made. They've put these little buttons up in the corners of the 2.4 gigahertz. Also, the newer Heng Longs, they also come out with two different types of sound you can switch from the bottom of the tank. The newer one sounds, from what I've seen and heard, more era to the older tanks as opposed to the newer tanks. But yeah, I just decided to put a little side-by-side comparison video. As far as weight goes, obviously the Pershing's heavier with the metal tracks. Now the older Tiger One I have actually come with it's a nickel cadmium battery that come with that, which is a lot heavier because it was a lithium ion battery that actually came with the Pershing, which is a very light battery as opposed to a heavier 6-cell nickel cad. So if the metal tracks weren't on this tank, they'd probably weigh around the same. But yeah, it's a great hobby to get into if you like models and scale looking stuff. There's pretty good detail on the Heng Longs. If you buy a Tamiya, they're usually kits you got to put together, and very high quality stuff. Also very expensive. The local hobby shop up here told me if you're looking to get a Tamiya tank, you're probably looking at like $1,800 or $1,100 or something like that. So by the time you get all your running gear and everything for it, Tegan tanks are a little more expensive than these guys as well, and like a lot of the molding looks the same, like the same body, maybe just some different parts here and there. The Heng Long's like new, you're anywhere between your $200 and $300 depending on whether or not you get upgrades, and well worth the money if you really like the World War II stuff. Uh, Decent quality, like I said. I never really had any issues. The smoker did stop working on the M26, but mostly my fault. I didn't put enough smoke oil in it, and the wire broke. It heated up and broke. I just resoldered the wire, made sure I got more smoke oil in there, and then it's been fine since. I haven't tried the smoker yet, actually, on the Tiger One. I don't think the original owner uh, used it at all. It was still full, and the little bottle they give you the smoke oil in. So I'm sure it'll work fine if I put some oil in it. Other than that, just thought I'd post another little video here and just show you guys these things side by side and give you an idea of size. Uh, the Tiger One is a little bit wider, I believe, than the Pershing as well. Very neat tanks. Hope this video helped you out if you're looking at buying some RC tanks. Like I said, I definitely recommend the Heng Longs. They'd be a great starter tank if you had a really good budget and you want high quality stuff. You could go with one of the Tamiya kits. You have to, like I said, you have to build them yourself. So if you're not mechanically inclined, you've never really built an RC, you might want to get something that's already assembled for you and ready to go. Like I said, hope this video helps, and everybody have a good evening.